The direct byproduct of a community that suffers from addiction is crime.
I was just talking to our record supervisor just to kind of get a rundown. And I say per year we have about 180, almost close to 200 calls that are violent in nature. About 150 of those we actually have suspect information that our officers and our detectives can actually follow up on. Unfortunately, due to the narcotic epidemic that we're dealing with, a lot of the times we're dealing with people who one week will be our victim, next week will be our suspects. And it's a very close-knit community, even though a lot of times they are victimizing one another, that very few are willing to cooperate with the police department. We're looking at about 12 to 15 violent crimes a month. We're talking about uses of whether it's blunt instrument objects, edge weapons, or firearms. That's probably, I would say, the smaller on the lesser amount, minimizing it. But we deal with, I would say, with including domestics, including violent crime, I would have to say we're probably close to 1,000 a year, easily.
A day after the discovery of 5-year-old Renesmee Calzada's body in the Rio Grande near Española.
That really hit home for me. For whatever reason, when I was a law enforcement officer and I was a grunt, so to speak, and boots on the ground, I think I kind of went to work with a little bit different mentality. I knew I was going to see the devil every day, and I kind of prepared myself for that. When we came out for the Renesmee case, myself and my deputy chief, we had just gone to a training that the FBI put on in Santa Fe, actually, and it was a training dealing with missing and exploited children, probably about a month before this incident happened, And I was kind of thinking to myself and telling our deputy chief, I sure hope we don't have to deal with that. A month later, we get the Amber Alert, probably at 1 or 2 in the morning, and it came to reality for us. That hit hard for me because I have a 3-year-old little girl at home, and I'm a father of a blended family. I have 4 girls and a boy. And so when we started doing that investigation, being the administrator and I guess feeling the responsibility of trying to bring this child home safe really hit home for me, and I think it really hit us hard as a community when we found out the unfortunate outcome. It affected everybody, and it still does to this day for me.
That was a real eye-opener. As a teacher, to talk to your students about, understanding and letting your parents know, or your mother or your father or a teacher know, if somebody's hurting you, even if it's someone you love, someone you care for, and someone you trust. I don't know all the details with that case. A lot has not been revealed or said. And so, and I didn't know the little girl or her family. But it does break my heart. No little child nobody should have to go through anything like that.
20 years ago, I think we were in the 40s of police officer staffing. 10 years ago, we had about 37, 36 officers. And when I got here, almost 2 years ago, we were down to 25 officers. That's from the chief on down. So we've been able to get a couple of officers last year to this year, but we obviously need more. Our officers are busy, and I used to work, at a department just south of here, and I think fully staffed, they're at 160 officers. Our officers and our department are probably, if not as busy, maybe a little bit more busy, because of the epidemic that we have here and the type of violence we have.
We get issues like I don't have a bed to sleep on, or we all share a room and there's 5 or 6 of them. So we have those issues, but then we have other issues like my dad pulled a gun out on my mom last night and I'm scared to go home. I don't want to grow up and be like my dad. We got issues like my mom's boyfriend stomped on my head. The police came and took him away, We've got issues of I'm worried about coming to school because I don't know if my mom's going to wake up. We have a lot of students who are angry. They're angry because they're hungry. They're angry because they couldn't sleep last night. They're angry because mom and dad are fighting. They're angry because someone's in jail. They're angry because they don't know their place. And we deal with a lot of anger. I'm going to start crying in a minute because my kids, they touch my heart.
45 there behind the Rock Christian. Headed that way. Going towards Riverside.
Cameron was fatally shot last week on Highway 68 near Española.
Shooting into the car, and my boy got hit in the head right away. Right away, yeah. But like I said, they were out there still doing what they do. They were looking for trouble, and one of the guys said that he feared for his life, and like Valerie says, if you feared for your life, well, stay home, stay where it's safe. Don't be out there looking for it, And it could have been anybody. It could have been you, me. People just passing by, going to the casino, and they get shot at, He was just at the wrong place, wrong time. Yeah. But as far as gun violence goes, I don't know if it'll ever stop. We hope it does. But what I guess our message would be is that the people learn from other people's mistakes too, because they're locked up, their lives changed, they changed the lives of their family side. Our family side just went completely upside down, and they gotta learn the consequences of what it'll do to other people,
I still see Cameron's name around. I still see, effects of both sides, because the suspects, or the suspect on the other side was a young man from the area. The victims were young people from the area, and so it's sad. It's sad because, families on both sides lost somebody.
A lot of our kids that do have the anger issues are brought up in homes or not brought up in homes with parents, either they're with their grandparents and they don't understand why, or they're angry at their parents for abandoning them in a sense, or they're growing up in homes where parents are using. We've had students tell us they had to stay outside all night because mom and dad are doing whatever they're doing in the house. So yes, I think if we don't deal with the mental issues that are going on, the emotional, we're going to see a generation of very angry adults. And it's scary.
One of our records analysts did a statistic, and I think it's more closer to 60, 70,000 people that we serve, because of all the traveling, because of the pueblos, because of the counties that we have, and it's unfortunately we go by population that we get our money.
A lot of our kids don't think they can go to college. And, I tell them differently. Second graders, I'm still telling them differently. My third graders, I would tell them differently. It's not always college either. I tell them we need mechanics, we need plumbers, we need everything. And that's another thing I worry about, because a lot of those people, the skilled trades people, are older. What's going to happen when that generation's gone?
There's also a great deal of healing that has to happen. Social, emotional wellness, somatic work, the schools cannot offer an envelope that gives wraparound services, and I believe that that's the best way that we can address some of these issues, because the family unit can't do it on their own. They're crippled, they're broken, they're struggling.